Hello everyone, it's Vicky here today designing for Pink Fresh Studio, and I am using the Life Right Now collection, and I'm really inspired by this paper here with all the phrases on, and I want to get messy and do a bit of mixed media. So I have some watercolours here. They're Japanese watercolours, just a regular standard watercolour. And what I want to do is match up some of these colours that are on this sheet of paper. So I start off with a blue because actually that blue is almost identical to the blue in the collection. So that was easy. And then I'm going to move on to the green. Now I don't actually get this green quite right, but and you'll see that on the final thing, but it's really close. So I was quite happy with how it came out. It was a difficult one to match. I think maybe I needed a bit more white in it. But anyway, I mix up the green, I put in a bit of blue, and I put some white in as well. And you'll see that it actually looks pretty close. So I'm just showing you my mixing process. The yellow ochre colour there, that was actually really good for the orange. It was pretty close to the original orange, so again, I didn't have to add anything into that one. And then I'm going for the sort of the deep pinky red colour, and I choose a couple of colours for this. I put in some red, I put in some whites. I think that's it actually, red and white. And then the final colour is this sort of mustardy yellow. So I mix a couple of colours here. I put some yellow in, I think I put some blue or some green in there as well, and a bit of white as well. I overdid the green a little bit, so I have to add some more yellow and then a bit of white, and then I think I'm there. And that actually came out really well. It's almost identical colour, so I was really pleased with that. Okay, so that's my colours all mixed up and ready to go. So what my plan is I want to do some sort of segments on here, almost like a sunburst, I guess. So I start off by drawing a circle, and then I'm going to draw little segments onto that circle. So I'm going to make 5 segments. They're not even. I thought about doing them even, but I didn't. I thought I would do them all differently. And I also put the extra an extra line in next to each segment because I don't want my segments ultimately to touch. And then I'm using this grey fine line pen to draw on my lines, and I'm going over the edge a bit because I don't want to use the curved edge. I want to join them, and you'll see what I mean here. I want to join them. I want the lines to show because you'll see in a bit I'm going to do a tidy paint inside the lines, and then I'm going to mess it up, but I still want those lines to show, so the pen helps to do that. And then I just erase the pencil lines and I'm left with 5 segments. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully watching the video made more sense than watching me. I'm sorry, listening to me. So here we go. So I'm going to paint these segments, as I said, with the 5 colours that I chose. That's just pretty straightforward. This is watercolour paper, by the way. It's so I haven't treated it in any way. That's why it's going on nicely. You could do this with regular paper if you put some gesso on first. You could get the same effect. So just see how easy that is, just painting all the segments. It's not perfect, you know, it might go over in little places, that doesn't really matter, but I just want there to be a proper triangle there to start with. I'm really happy with how those colours worked out. The pink is my favourite. No, actually I really like the orange as well. Oh, I can't choose. I just love colour. Let's just say that. Okay, so I've got getting the pink on, and then what I do is dry this. I actually got out my heat tool, which I skipped through, but I got my heat tool to dry it, because then what I want to do is use the packaging technique, a bit of old packaging with some of the paint, and I just want to do a smudgy effect and some splatters around each triangle. So I do them one by one. I do each triangle. I think you see me do 3 of them, and then I skip through. So I just smidge it down, squidge it down, take off any excess with the paper towel, and after doing some splatters, and then move on to the next one. I take off the excess using the paper towel. I don't want it to dry a lot before I take it off. I don't want really noticeable dark splodges. I just want a nice messy effect around there. So you can see that works quite nicely. And it just adds a bit more interest, I think, to the shapes that I've done. With just the plain paint, it looks nice, but I think that the splodges and the splashes take it up a level. So there we go, that's all done. Now I'm going to draw a slightly smaller circle around, very faint line, because this was my original idea. I want to use these pieces from that paper, and I cut them out off camera. I want to use these little phrases to create a circle on top of that, all that colour. So you can see the colour in between them, and some of the phrases are actually coloured, as you saw on the whole sheet. So I'm trying to colour code those onto the areas where their colour is, if that makes sense. So that green one's over on the left, there's a red one over on the right, reddy pink, the yellow one's gone in there at the bottom. But anyway, so that's my idea. So those are just all placed on at the moment, and I'm going to put some foam on the back of all of them before I stick them down. You'll see me do a couple of rows and then I'll skip through, and you don't have to watch me do all of them. So I just use my T-square ruler just to make sure that first line is straight, and then it's quite easy to work off of that for the others, because my wedges aren't straight. So if I didn't use the T-square, then you can bet that they would all be out of line. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to move on to the second row, add a bit of foam to each one. This is just sticky back foam, sticky one side and not the other, and I'm using Scotch tacky glue to glue it down. I could use double-sided tape, but I find that glue sticks to mixed media much better. There we go, so they're all down, and that's where I want to put my photo. There's a little gap in the middle because there was no point in filling that really, but I do add an extra one in a short while because I realise that there's just a little gap to the left of the photo from where I want to put it. So I'm going to put foam on the back of the photo. I also put some tissue paper on the back. I think I did that off camera somehow, I'm not sure how that happened. And yeah, a bit of tissue paper and foam. And that's where I see that that gap is just slightly too big, so I just pop another one in there. You can't read it once it's in there, but it's in there. There we go. So I realise I have double foam from those words and also foam from the photo, but that's fine for me. Okay, so I've got this little embellishment pack here, and all the bits and pieces in there. So I'm going to pick some out that sort of match with the colours I have, and they're going to go around. Now there's a lot of words on here, and some of the tags that go on top have words, so it's just a mass of words on here. But and that's why I don't do a title ultimately, but you'll see that as it goes. Okay, so I've got these chipboard flare and the puffy stickers, and these floral die cuts I really like, so I feel like I might stick some of those next to the wedges rather than on top of the words. I love that little tea bag. It says a cup of tea solves everything, and it does. Just cut the little house, the two houses together, a blue and an orange, and I cut those in half so I could colour code them to their segments. And then I'm cutting a bit off of that floral so that it just fits around the curve. I want it to go on the pinky red section. And I like how that looks. So I'm going to stick that down just so that that's in place. And then the bit that I cut off is just going to stick on the green section there. And then just some other leaves on some other sections. The one at the bottom's got green leaves, but it's got little orangey yellow berries on it, so I thought that would be quite cute down there. I stick down my photo, and I use double-sided tape and glue just to make sure that stays in place. And I'm just sticking down all these other little embellishments, and they're just going on top of the words, and that's fine to cover the words. The words really are more for effect than the actual words that are on them, although the words are quite appropriate because the photo is of me and my auntie just having a cup of tea in the garden, so yeah, so they're quite appropriate, I think. And I've got my chipboard flare here. I'm going to colour code a couple of those in as well. Three of those, that looks good. And what am I doing next? Looking at my puffy stickers. Stick a couple of things on there. And these are the cardstock stickers. There's another orange one there which I like that says "more of this please." And of course some enamel dots. Love a bit of enamel dots. Like to put those in threes. And I think about using that title that I cut out before, but I don't. And then I've got a second pack of puffy stickers, just Pink Fresh Obsessed me. And I pick out that one that says "Time for Fun," and that one that says "Weekend." I just colour code those in as well. And I think that's the end. There's the final layout. I really hope you enjoyed my process and that it encourages you to do some watercolouring. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Please just shout out. There are some close-ups for you to take a look at, and they should show you a bit more detail on this layout. But thank you so much for watching. This has been Vicky for Pink Fresh Studio. Until next time, bye-bye.